Hey, guys, welcome to our podcast. Today, in this episode, I am going to speak about how to market your business in 2022. Being noticed is something I talk about a lot, make sure you watch the entire video. Let's get started. Hello, we are Flixiqe and we are marketing strategists. Welcome to the marketing show. Nonetheless, we hope you flourish. Your company will earn more leads. Customers and sales will increase as a result of stronger marketing. So if you're looking for the latest and greatest marketing strategies, tools, tips, tricks, and techniques, look no further. Well, you might want to consider subscribing and clicking that notification bell. Alright, if there's one thing we've learned over the last 2 years, it's that having a great internet marketing plan is key to your business's success. It's also crucial if you're beginning a completely new company from the ground up. So in this video, I'm going to discuss what's working right now to market your business like a pro so you can see actual results in 2022 and beyond. So I can honestly say that I've never seen a year with so many changes in how we need to publicize our businesses. Of course, we are still dealing with the pandemic, however, there are a number of things that continue to work. In fact, some of the strategies I'm going to offer today are true game changers, and they work better than some of the stuff we used to see when things were a lot more regular. Let's get this party started right away. We must discuss Facebook and Instagram advertisements. What's going on with them right now and how you can be that update and succeed when the majority of other businesses are failing miserably. So, in case you're unfamiliar with the privacy upgrade, I'll simply give you the short version. So basically, Facebook used to be able to follow pretty much anything else that other users did online, thanks to so many website owners installing the Facebook pixel on their sites. So, whether you think that's good or not, we're not going to get into that today, but it did give Facebook all the raw data they needed to show your advertising to the people they thought would be most likely to take you up on your offers. Another thing Facebook could do was see who clicked on your ad and who really bought something on your website. They either purchased your stuff or made an appointment with you. They were able to optimize who they were going to buy looking at their email list and seeing who actually took action. Show your advertising to in the future so that you can see how well they perform over time. So now Facebook is much blinder to what happens off of Facebook, making it more difficult for them to know who to show your advertising to with me so far. Okay, I know it was a lot, but we all know that they can't see everything that goes outside of Facebook these days. But guess what? Everything that happens on Facebook or Instagram is still visible to them. So, in year 22, all we have to do is be smarter and play into that transformation by doing more on Facebook. And I do have a few really specific strategies here. So, first and foremost, we're seeing just incredible results with Facebook lead advertisements right 2022. Before all of this, if you wanted to run an ad for your lead magnet in order to increase your email list or, get someone to sign up for a free consultation, you could. In order for people to view your ad, you'd normally run a standard conversion ad. Some of them would click on it, which would bring them to your website, where they could, opt in for it. As I previously stated, Facebook would notice the conversion and use it to help them improve who would see the ad after that. But, because we can't see or track that conversion on your website, we'll have to take a different approach now and acquire that identical sign up on Facebook. So a lead ad appears to be the same as any other conversion at first glance, right? When someone clicks on it, don't be surprised if it changes. They're not directed to your website, but instead to a form where they may write on Facebook. And that form is usually pre-filled with the information you requested. All they have to do is confirm and submit, and Facebook will keep track of the conversion, allowing them to continue to optimize your targeting. And you've succeeded in achieving the same goal. And because it all takes place on Facebook, you have the added benefit of often lower ad costs because you aren't diverting users away from the site, which is exactly what Facebook wants you to do. Facebook wants users to remain as long as possible, so if you take them somewhere else, you'll be charged extra. Let's speak about retargeting warm audiences with Facebook advertising now, shall we? It's always a good idea to target your adverts to individuals who already know a little about you and your company. So these are warm audiences, and they're almost always going to be more valuable to you as a business than someone who hasn't heard of you before because they're that much more inclined to take action. And you should definitely keep retargeting in mind. Your website's visitors. People who have visited your homepage, sales pages, or even your blog, although we know that Facebook is recording fewer of them presently. As a result, we'll need to enhance our retargeting efforts with warm audiences. You can build right on Facebook, and my two favorite methods for doing so are retargeting video views and anybody who interacts with your business on Facebook. So, let's start with the movie of use, shall we? Creating a video or two that provides actual value is an enormously powerful thing you can accomplish. Right, I'm referring to offering a fast tip or bit of advice or even motivating them to see what is possible. And, of course, this should have a lot of overlap with the services you provide and the prices you charge. So, if you're a veterinarian, you can submit your top 3 recommendations for nutritious dog food. For example, if you want to establish a bespoke audience of everyone who watches, you can do so. 3 seconds or 10 seconds of that video, and the other kind of audience you can retarget is anyone who communicates with your Facebook or Instagram profile in any manner, so you'd basically just run an attitude for a few bucks a day that delivers value. As a result, this can be video or image based. You'd simply run anything you think would resonate best as an engagement ad. As a result, there should be a lot of comments, likes, and shares. And there are a handful of reasons why this is a good idea. First and foremost, you will be able to retarget all of those engaged users with more adverts. Second, accounts with a lot of engagement and data to work with are more likely to be rewarded by Facebook. And when I say reward, what I really mean is lower ad prices for all of your more expensive conversion-oriented advertising. As a result, I strongly advise you to begin running some very simple engagement advertising as soon as feasible. So that when you're ready to run those ads that are supposed to actually sell anything, your ad accounts can have a lot of activity and engagement on them, making every subsequent ad you run much more successful and profitable. So, let's move on to our next marketing advice. So video is now unavoidable, right? There's probably no better sign of this than the fact that the CEO of Instagram came straight out and said, "We are no longer a photo sharing service." They're going all out with the video. They're essentially attempting to beat TikTok at their own game on Reels, and by that I mean they're trying to beat TikTok at their own game. So, I've been talking about video as a trend for at least 5 years now, but we've finally reached a tipping point. I suppose this is when the video is no longer just a fad. It's not a great thing to have. It's basically just the bare minimum to even compete online these days, and I'll take it for granted. There is no better method to draw attention to yourself and your brand than through video content is available. So if filming longer form, YouTube films seem like a lot of work and you don't want to do it, Reels on Instagram are a great way to get started and gain some serious viral attention right now. So you'll be warming up audiences on hyperdrive by making incredibly short, and by short, I mean 15 to 30 second short value-packed videos. So Instagram makes it quite simple to simply open the app, record yourself, and edit it. Add some music if you wish, as well as any other bells and whistles you might require. But, to be honest, you don't require quite as much. Don't worry about the dancing and pointing unless you really want to, and don't worry about keeping up with all those ever-changing TikTok fads when it comes to video material that creates trust, authority, and sells at the end of the day. It's quite acceptable to simply present your message to the camera in this manner. You should still have strong enthusiasm in delivery, but as long as you do, and you give out some really fantastic suggestions, advice, or inspiration, you'll be okay. That's all there is to it. And if you're doing it organically, that is, you don't want to pay for your visibility and instead want the algorithm to find you. Naturally, there are a few things to bear in mind. First and foremost, make effective use of your hashtags. Now is the time to use all 30 hashtags that they allow you to use. And you should aim for a solid, balanced mix of all levels of competitiveness. So some will be in a high competition environment, others will be in a medium competition environment, and yet others will be in a low competition environment, right? And this year, quantity is actually quite important. At the very least, you should upload 4 reels per week. 7 is preferable. And I get that this is a tall request, but it's the trade-off here. If you want to develop, you're going to have to pay for it one way or another. In this instance, you'll have to pay with your time, but if you'd rather pay money for the same outcomes, you're in luck. Because Instagram has introduced genuine ad placement, which allows you to appear as an ad that looks exactly like any other reel, with the exception of a very subtle sponsored label at the bottom. As a result, you'll be able to create far fewer reels while still getting in front of a large number of your target demographic, which would be your ideal clients, exactly like with the Facebook ads we discussed previously. You may then retarget all of the individuals that watch the reels with new ads aimed at really converting them into customers. Let's take it a step further while we're on camera. Let's move on to my next marketing trend for 22, which is live streaming. As effective as video is for your brand, there will always be a barrier between you and your audience when it's pre-recorded. When you live stream, however, people feel like they're a part of it. Right, you get to engage and connect with them, as well as speak directly to them, which is quite effective in terms of creating rapport and trust. Simply calling out someone's name in real time will make them feel far more of a personal connection to you in your business than passively watching multiple of your recorded movies back to back. Not to mention that consumers will often watch a live video for 4 times as long as they would a pre-recorded one and engage with it 5 times as much. So, when we talk about this from a marketing standpoint, this is kind of the ultimate shortcut to gathering a lot of attention for your brand, and elephant in the room moment, you could be extremely terrified to go live. I remember being nervous the first time I did it. And, to tell you the truth, I was a little apprehensive every time I pressed that button after that, but it became easier. And I began to look forward to that engagement between myself and my audience, and there is a true silver lining to the live part of the video. There's almost little expectation of high production value, which means you can get away with filming it on your phone without using a gray mic. And because it was absolutely spontaneous, just talking with the audience and answering questions. And since it's live, there won't be any post-production or editing, right? You literally just do it in real time, and you have the freedom to do it, and then go about your day, as opposed to, say, this video, which will take about 10 hours of post-production and editing, and all that kind of stuff. So live video really cuts down on that, and pretty much every social network now has that built in as a feature. So just think of a topic you'd like to talk to your consumers about, note down some notes, take a cup of coffee to get some nice energy going, and then press live, and you're done. But now I'd like to look at the other side of the coin, which is on-demand audio. So, if you take a walk about, you'll see that almost everyone has their earphones in almost all of the time. And if you take some of my suggestions below, those tiny white pieces of plastic could be working quite hard to communicate your message. And I've got a great suggestion for you. If you have a business that caters to a national or even international audience and another one that caters to a local audience, it's especially excellent for you, local businesses out there. If you don't have a physical place where you serve your consumers, a podcast is a wonderful way to get the word out. As a result, podcasts are becoming increasingly popular year after year. So we haven't even come close to realizing their full potential yet, but even though they still have a lot of developing to do, more Americans who have Netflix accounts listen to podcasts every week, which blew my mind. And I heard that statistic, which I believe is accurate. That could just be because everyone is taking their friend's Netflix login, but podcasts are still popular. You can do it in a variety of ways. This is something you can take advantage of. So the first, most comprehensive approach would be to launch your own podcast and begin progressively creating an audience right away. As long as you can come up with a broad theme for your presentation that has some overlap with what you charge for. And you're not afraid to put in the effort to see your outcomes. This is most likely the best long-term bet. You have complete control over the show, including anything you market or promote on each episode. And he'll get to know you better every week since, as I mentioned in the previous video, having a podcast is my second favorite content marketing technique right now. It simply allows you to go far longer than you could with video. Because most people are preoccupied with something else while listening. People will undoubtedly feel like they know you even better than they could with video as a consequence of this, but establishing your own podcast isn't something you can commit to. That's all right. You may either go on another podcast, as an expert predicted, or you can simply pay the sponsor an episode or a set of episodes to borrow other people's already existing audiences. Casper and Squarespace are unable to sponsor all podcasts. Even if it appears that they do, this gives you plenty of opportunities. So simply conduct some research and choose some shows that your potential consumers are likely to be listening to, and then contact the hosts. Then, sell yourself as a visitor or inquire about the requirements for becoming a sponsor. Remember, if you're presenting yourself as an expert to appear on the show, lead with what you can add to the show's audience, not merely what your aim is for appearing. So there was a time when I had a podcast. I just finished it, but I was getting a ridiculous amount of photographs every day. And the majority of them were merely basic rags about the person's accomplishments, but they never came around to mention what they would come on and talk to my audience about that would be beneficial to them. To be honest, I disregarded each and every one of them. As a result, lead with that value. And you'll get a considerably higher response rate as a result. But what about local companies for you guys? Spotify adverts have a special place in my heart. The procedure is quite simple. To begin, all you need to do is come up with a specific offer to promote. That is critical. Then write a 30-second ad read that clearly outlines the offer, the major benefit of your offer, and the call to action, which in most situations will be to tap the screen to get the deal on your website. And now you have a choice. You may record it yourself or have it recorded for you at no additional expense. The ad will be read by one of their voiceover artists. They can incorporate background music, and then you can specify, and this is where it becomes interesting, the geographical area in which your ad can be heard. So, you've merely specified the Mumbai area or even particular zip codes if you're a designer in Mumbai. Then everybody who is listening to Spotify in that location, the free version of Spotify, will be able to hear your advertisement. Because the targeting possibilities on Spotify are still rather rudimentary, this works well for local businesses with a fairly broad appeal. So, right now, you can target based on, as we mentioned, location, page ranges, gender, and the most basic of interests, which I honestly don't believe are well developed enough to be useful. But the best part is that you just have to spend a few cents per listen, which is a very small amount of money. But what if you have the sort of business that people are looking for? In your instance, I strongly advise you to optimize your website for Google search traffic. And the manner in which you do it has evolved significantly over the last few years. Search engine optimization, or SEO, has advanced significantly. So, let's get ready to optimize for smart search. So what SEO used to be all about was just, pounding your keywords as many times as possible into the content on your page. And that worked when Google was less intelligent, because it was pretty much all they had to go on. However, students now have a better understanding of the broad issues and what kind of content and language they should expect to see on a high-quality website about that topic. So, let's pretend you're a game console repair store. Rather than cramming the words gaming console repair 30 or 40 times onto your home page, Google would expect that page to mention phrases like video game repair or PlayStation PS4. This sort of thing. Phrases and keywords that indicate that you've covered your topic entirely and thoroughly, and optimizing for user signals as the other half of smart search. Because, believe it or not, Google keeps track of how long visitors spend on your site and how far down the page they scroll. And if they leave your site and go somewhere else to continue their search, that's a problem. So these are all indications that your users, aka potential consumers, convey to Google just by their normal behaviors and reactions to the material on your site. So the best thing you can do to attract more customers is to provide the best possible experience to the ones you already have. This means doing things like writing on your website for people rather than search engines, informing them of the benefits of working with you, and anticipating their questions. Isn't it true that you're busting through their arguments in real time? All of this brings us back to a topic we discussed earlier. Adding things like video can help you do all of that while also boosting the number of time users spend on your site. There is also a slew of other clever things you can do on your website to assist keep your visitors satisfied. Encourage more of them to become paying customers and give all of those positive signals back to Google so they can reward you with even more traffic. In only a few days, you'll be able to put it to good use. You won't be able to get this information anyplace else. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. So, please subscribe below so that you can watch our videos as soon as they are released, and make sure to turn on the notifications. Also, if you need help with your brand strategy or design, go to Flixiqe.com. A creative career for professionals. Please get in touch with us and we'll see what we can do to take things to the next level. And with that, I'd want to thank you very much for listening. Make sure you subscribe to our channel right now and we'll catch up with you next time in our marketing show.